Akemitsu grew up as a lonely boy because of his father's womanizing ways, and he vowed to be different from his father, so he avoided all women and decided to become a monk. The day after Akemitsu confronts Kagura for manipulating her childhood friend Mia, the very mention of her name inspires fear in him. This includes when Yuzuki wakes him up the next morning, and when Mia is saying hello to him. Mia somehow misunderstands his fear for attraction between him and Kagura, and even though Kagura tries to express her displeasure, Mia continues to misunderstand, and she locks both of them in a shrine together so they can get along. Kagura threatens to tell the other girls that he attacked her while they were alone, which would get him kicked out of the shrine if he tells the others of their plans. Akemitsu agrees, and says he just wanted to be friends with her. But Kagura continues to elicit frightening behavior as she easily kicks the shrine door down to allow them to escape. His worst, however, gives Kagura an idea to get him and Mia together, which will create heartbreak for Yuzuki, who will end up kicking them both out, furthering her ultimate goal of getting Mia back to her family. Meanwhile, Tsukuyo wakes up after having a dream about her and Akemitsu, and it turns out that she was just grabbing her sister Kurage, who was trying to wake her up. After apologizing, Tsukuyo tries to get Kurage to forget everything she heard. As the morning continues, Tsukuyo watches Akemitsu interact with Mia, and she gets slightly jealous. Kagura with her camera takes advantage of her fears, and she starts to turn Tsukuyo against Akemitsu and Mia with videos of the two of them together. Tsukuyo refuses to believe that Mia has feelings for Akemitsu, so she attempts to interrogate the girl alongside Kagura. But Mia has no idea what's going on as Tsukuyo attempts to use her seniority in the temple and get a confession from Mia that she likes Akemitsu. Mia actually just likes him as a training partner to achieve enlightenment with. But when Mia starts to monologue on the benefits of enlightenment and expresses her admiration for Akemitsu, this causes Tsukuyo to be suspicious as well. Alongside Kagura, they tie up Mia to interrogate her further, but after a confused Mia tries to get free, the rest of the shrine hears her cries for help and they arrive to clear up the situation. Later, Akemitsu becomes worried for the temple because they are both broke and running out of food. He tries to cook their next meal with the rest of their supplies but finds out that they have absolutely nothing left. Mia hears his pain cries and they come up with strategies to get more rice. Luckily, Yuzuki steps in and informs them that the shrine actually owns some land and they can get rice from the nearby townspeople. On the way to the farm, Yuzuki tells them the importance of the shrine and the community and how the members of the shrine should forge stronger connections with the villagers in their community. They go to different houses to ask for tribute, but unfortunately they either get ignored or people ask them for impossible favors in exchange for rice. In the end, they end up going to a disabled parishioner's house and are able to get rice. As they meet the woman and her family, the woman admits to Akemitsu later that the Mikuzuki temple probably has trouble getting tribute due to Yuzuki's mother being missing and residing in the main temple instead. Eventually, they are led to the backyard where a huge amount of straw bags filled with rice are, and Akemitsu remembers the first day he met Yuzuki since she was holding similar bags. Yuzuki then leads them away, showing off her strength by carrying many bags. Later, with Yuzuki's Tokudo ceremony fast approaching, a test for her to become a priestess, and something she must accomplish to save the shrine, she alongside Akemitsu and Mia train hard for several weeks. Unfortunately, since the Tokudo needs to be in the shrine itself, the Mikuzuki temple must find a way to repair the figurehead of the shrine. The cost is immense, but Yuzuki is determined to do anything she can to get enough money to fix the figurehead. Akemitsu wants to make sure she doesn't try to do everything herself, but when he goes to help, he finds her in a maid uniform. He tries to tell her that he wants to help her mission, but her uniform keeps distracting him. She tells him that he needs to focus on his monk training instead of earning money, even though Akemitsu tells her that she is being stubborn. Yuzuki proudly tells him that she will work 6 jobs all at once to get the figurehead fixed, and that this is important to her because her mother also struggled to support the shrine alone. Akemitsu continues to argue that he can help since he has work experience, but their arguments keep getting derailed because she is in her maid uniform. In fact, Yuzuki didn't realize that she was wearing it all along because she passed out after work from her previous job. Akemitsu helps to get Yuzuki to relax with stretching, but their activities wake up Tsukuyo, who becomes suspicious. After she nervously confronts them, Tsukuyo watches them argue about Yuzuki overworking herself in all her jobs, especially since Yuzuki keeps falling asleep standing up. Eventually, Akemitsu has enough after Yuzuki tells him to do whatever he wants, and after he asks Tsukuyo to go out with him as he leaves. Tsukuyo is so struck by his words that night she dreams of marrying Akemitsu, and in her embarrassing dream she ends up headbutting her Kurage while she wakes up. And that morning, after putting on her best outfit, she meets Akemitsu outside the temple, but is shocked when he shows up wearing the exact same clothes he always wears. This relaxes Tsukuyo, who is thankful that this isn't a date, but she gets more confused after he compliments her outfit. As they walk to town together, he asks her for advice and shows him a couple's phone plan, which embarrasses her further. They end up going to a phone shop together where he buys a new phone plan, and Tsukuyo becomes embarrassed by the clerk who thinks they are dating. Later he gives her a juice box and starts to go home. But Tsukuyo stops him from leaving as she tries to somehow ask him to clarify his intentions. Unfortunately, she only manages to ask him to trade contacts with him, which makes her his first contact on his phone. He later tells her that he bought a phone to help him with secret activities, but this only confuses Tsukuyo again, who fantasizes that he got a phone to secretly text her. This isn't helped when he sends her a sweet text saying "I love you" that night. Meanwhile, Yuzuki has a dream that night remembering when her mother asked her to take care of the temple, but she didn't remember what her answer was as a child. She wakes up feeling stressed and depressed because Akemitsu hasn't spoken to her since she yelled at him. Then she becomes troubled when she sees Akemitsu and Tsukuyo together after they come back from town. Akemitsu also feels bad for arguing with Yuzuki, and he tries to apologize to each other, but they have trouble communicating. This leads to Kiki taking him aside to talk with him, and she becomes concerned until she realizes they had their first couples quarrel. She gives him advice about Yuzuki, and tries to use an analogy about the moon to get him to think about his true feelings for Yuzuki. Akemitsu is a little dumb, but is able to talk about his admiration for her hardworking nature. Suddenly, Kurage arrives telling them that some temple supporters have come by, and they want to end their relationship with the temple. Kiki springs into action, because they can use this opportunity to get money from their former supporters. Kiki plans to charge them to help the temple, but she finds them already leaving. Yuzuki explains that she let them go for free to continue the tradition of their mother, who never charged people who leave the temple. Yuzuki tries to encourage herself, but she and Akemitsu become shocked when a disappointed Kiki tells them she won't be training Yuzuki anymore. Meanwhile, Yuzuki struggles to remember what she told her mother. She tries to get started on training without Kiki by cleaning the temple, but Akemitsu has already cleaned everything possible, and has also done all the chores in the temple. He happens to be missing, so they all wonder where he is, and they become shocked when Tsukuyo is the only one with his contact information. Yuzuki leaves and becomes determined to do something useful, but she finds there really isn't anything to clean in the temple. She later goes into town to find some work to get money for the temple, but she runs away after becoming uncertain. Meanwhile, Akemitsu begs Kiki to continue Yuzuki's training, but she threatens to end his training, and tells him that Yuzuki needs to figure out some important lessons herself. Suddenly he gets a call from Tsukuyo telling him that Yuzuki has suddenly gone missing. A worried Akemitsu then runs out into the rain to go look for Yuzuki around town, but he has no luck. At the same time, a depressed Yuzuki is hiding from the rain in a cardboard box. A feverish Yuzuki remembers her mother leaving the temple a few years ago, telling the rest of the family she could not support the shrine anymore, and that the Mikuzuki temple was doomed. She starts to wonder if she was somehow responsible for driving away her mother, and this has led to her obsession to save the temple. Meanwhile, a panicked Akemitsu checks his old cardboard box under the bridge, and manages to find Yuzuki hiding there. Finding her crystallizes his feelings for her, and they embrace as the rain stops. Yuzuki later wakes up in her room the next day, as Akemitsu brought her back home. The two of them apologize to each other for their arguing, and they reconcile their differences by talking about their family history. Akemitsu realizes that due to his hatred for his father, he keeps isolating himself from others. Meanwhile, Yuzuki starts to cry when he promises to support her and the shrine. She asks him why he cares so much, and he tells her that since she loves the Mikuzuki temple, he loves the temple as well. And Yuzuki remembers that as a child she told her mother she will always love the temple. Meanwhile, the rest of the shrine arrive thankful for Yuzuki's return, but also angry at her for worrying them. They tell her since they are all part of the temple, she shouldn't keep working alone, and they should all be a part of saving the temple. Kiki arrives and Yuzuki apologizes to the head priestess, saying that she had lost sight of her ultimate goal, and she begs for her training again. Kiki agrees and tells Akemitsu that Yuzuki is now ready to become a head priestess. That night, Yuzuki tells Akemitsu that she is going to quit all of her part-time jobs and rely on the supporters of the temple to donate and repair the temple figurehead. She now understands that to protect the temple it is okay to rely on others, and Akemitsu looks forward to supporting her dream of saving the temple. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.